Sit back and relax while you listen to the Train Kickers podcast. I'm Dave, and with my co-host Dan, we plan to go all over the world of miniature wargaming. On this episode, we're going to discuss some news, and then for the main segment, we're going to talk about staying motivated in the hobby. Now, on to the show. All right, Dan, so how are you doing on this later than normal recording? We're actually recording on Thursday, so we got one day for me to put this mess together.
No, it's been quite busy. No, it's been good. It's been good. Just hanging in there, getting some modeling done. You know, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, we normally do earlier, but I know you were a bit busy. I ended up being a little busy, although with my wife having less stuff going on right now, it makes it a little bit easier for me some days. But then yours, I think, picked up a couple extra things. So, but,
Yeah. No, it's been a tough couple weeks. So I'm just glad to sit down and finally have a conversation.
yeah, it's getting closer to winter break or Christmas break or however you want to call it. So,
Well,
how
for
long do you
you.
actually? How long do you guys get off?
Oh wait. That's for you because you're a college
Yeah,
professor.
I was about to
So you
say.
get that nice. Oh, yeah, no. We only get Let me see here. This year we get 2 weeks. 2 weeks, as I want to say what it is.
All right. I mean,
But other
that's
than that, yeah, not much.
it's something at least. I guess we do just about a month, like 2 days short of a month. But I mean, I guess 2 weeks is something. But all right, so we'll get into things here. So we'll for anyone listening, this is a little bit more of, at least news wise, a little bit more of a GW focused episode related to news. The every other week or so is the goal to try to do a little bit more Marvel Crisis Protocol related. Although if news comes out for that or any of these other game systems, we're absolutely going to talk about it and at least bring it up to make people aware. So let's go on to progress and things. I'll start with what I have because I do
Yeah.
have to post this stuff up. I've been terrible about posting my stuff up on Instagram or anywhere else for people to see, but I was able to do quite a bit of painting this week. So I was able to get my Marshcrawler Slogoth. He's done, including all the little hobgrots on his back. All painted separately because there's 3 of them that are put together in I don't know, about the space of what I would say is roughly like 3/4 put together. Like it's a
Okay.
very small space, so you have to do them separately. I was able to finish Beast for Marvel Crisis Protocol. I have a few other models that I've assembled. Just this morning, I finished my Sludgeraker Beast, except for the rider, because I'm magnetizing the rider. There's a good
Okay.
spot for it. So his legs are 2 separate pieces, and the upper torsos are 100% separate between essentially the normal boss and Scumdrek or the named character. So the idea is, okay, where their stomachs are is kind of beveled out a little bit. So I'll put a little dip into that. I'll sink a magnet there. I'll trim the legs down a little bit in the middle a little extra so the magnet sits nice and flush. And between the legs, there's actually a bit of a gap. You have to kind of Dremel it out, which I did. The problem is all the magnets I have are too big for that. So I have to get some smaller magnets. All the magnets I have right now are for Titans for Titanicus. So they're all 8mm, which, yeah, this guy needs
Oh,
maybe a 4 or a 5 I could fit in there, but I can't fit an 8.
okay.
So,
Okay.
so all of that's done otherwise, which is nice. I ended up picking up a full box of Dominion because I sat down, I thought about it, and I said, well, I need another thing of Gut Rippers because if I don't run the big yellers, then Gut Rippers are the only battle line. Okay, so I need 3 units. But I'd also like more Bolt Boys because they are both good. I like them. I like the idea of running potentially one big unit or all of that. And so I sat down, I thought about it, I said, well, those 2 units together, that's almost 100. The box right now I can get for 150. So for 50 more, I can get the whole rest of it, which I can sell some characters because I'll sell them super cheap. I don't care. And then I can pick up the whole Stormcast Eternals half. I have then 1,200 points of Stormcast Eternals. I can paint those up over time and all. And that way, if I'm actually trying to show someone the game, I have another faction I can go with. So I ended up picking that up, and I've been assembling all of that. So I have most of it put together. I have not assembled the characters. I've been Stormcast wise, I've assembled everything except for Yandraste or the giant lady with the wings.
The giant lady with wings, yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to. I don't. I don't think she. I don't think I want her. I don't think she fits what I want.
Although she is, I mean, to be fair, rule wise, she's a pretty good, damn cool model. Have
She
you seen the
is.
rule for her? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Because and she fits perfectly in what they're doing currently, where she's very much about you know, i- if it's a monster, hey, they count as if they had taken 10 extra wounds, all of that. So and she can bring models back to life, all of that. But for the army I think I'm going with, I don't want to paint gold. Some people can do it fine, but I don't like painting gold. If I'm going to do gold, I'm going to do non-metallic metal, and I don't want to do an army like that. That sounds like a huge hassle. That's going to take me forever, and that's not my goal with this. So I'm doing. I'm probably playing as the anvils of the Heldenhammer because I like their rules. They're the ones who I want to say it's like a leadership check, and if you make it when someone's near you, then you essentially shrug off the first 2 wounds.
Oh, it's not. That's kind of cool. I like that a lot.
Plus, their armor is essentially a black to slash dark gray with then some highlights in it. They do some gold highlights. I'm going to put some green in there as well to differentiate them a bit. I don't know,
Okay.
that's not technically a faction. I don't know if it really fits well with what I intend. So for right now, I'm not assembling her. I might see if she's worthwhile selling, because if she's worthwhile selling, then I will. Now I have a copy of the rule book, which is nice. I can read through that because they actually have done a better job with all the lore and
The
all,
rules, absolutely. Oh yeah.
especially compared to what it used to be. So I picked that up. It's just about done. Today was very nice. I wanted to get it primed. I could not, but I was able to get a lot assembled during a work meeting, which is it's very nice since work meetings are still remote and the camera's
Yeah.
high enough.
That's usually what I do when
Mhm.
you have remote meetings. Yeah. I know.
Absolutely.
Oh, totally.
The only other main thing I've been doing is I'm a big fan of Gloomhaven. I kickstarted Frosthaven, waiting for that to come in. I've went through most of a Gloomhaven campaign. At one point at the store, we were playing it just about every Wednesday, about 2 scenarios every Wednesday for I don't know, 3 months, like clockwork.
Mhm.
Yeah, it
Okay.
kind of fell off near the end, but so be it. I've started another campaign with friends, and now Gloomhaven Digital has released their campaign. They've been in beta now for well over a year, probably I want to say it's maybe close to 2 years. But now they actually have the campaign out, so I started that. Um, I've now played like 8 missions. I have won 3. I don't know if I'm rusty. I don't know if it's the team I put together because I was like, hey, these guys seem cool because I haven't played them before. And maybe I'm just not picking good synergies or something. I don't know. But I'm not doing well. I've lost 2 different ones to
Oof.
literally last character standing, last card to play. The enemy went before I did. So the fact that they could hit me took me out. Where it's if I go first, they're dead or something like that. But it is a lot of
Okay.
fun. But it's been rough.
Okay, this isn't not bad. I mean, you did seems like you're doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah, well, when the wife has less baking stuff we have to do and less big weekend commitments, yeah, I'm able to get quite a bit more done, which has been nice. So how about you? I'm sure you have been up to some violent delights this week.
Yes, yes. So I did get a Thunderhawk. Not a Thunderhawk from Forge World. Jerk. Not yet. Um, I always
Because
make
you're
the
still
joke
married,
that
so you don't have that yet.
no. I mean, that would be a great Christmas gift or a birthday gift. No, the only reason I really don't have it is because the Custodies can't use it, and I really don't like the look of the Custodies Orion. I don't like it. It looks too GI Joe. But if Custodies could take a Thunderhawk, oh my God, that would be a perfect birthday gift, 100%. But no, I purchased a Thunderhawk for Aeronautica. Honestly, I don't even play Aeronautica. I just kind of wanted to paint it because it looks really, really cool, like a little fun project. So that's what
So
I
you have
did,
that in
and
hand
then
now.
yeah, I haven't built it; still in the box.
Okay.
Um, I picked that up. I also spent the entire week and about 3 or 4 cans of spray paint. So I have about 4 to 5 tables of Titanicus terrain. Now, before people freak out, it's actually only about 2 to 3 tables of buildings, and then the other 2 tables come from like Warhammer 40,000 rocks or rock formations, but you can kind of scale them. You know what I mean? Like I have a
Yeah.
bunch of Mars rocks that look great for 40K, but they also look like gigantic stones or like huge mesas for Titanicus. It's a scaling thing. But I spent like 2 or 3 days and a few hundred of my brain cells respraying all my buildings because I originally, when I did them, I just sprayed them black and dry brushed them gray, and they looked kind of bad. And someone on my 30K group was like, "Why not just spray them like Zenithal?" And my, because I don't have an airbrush, so I was like, screw it. What's the worst that can happen? So I took one of the buildings, sprayed it black, Zenithal brown, and then Zenithal like a wraith bone, which is very
Okay.
white. And it actually came out really good. Like if I wanted to do more effort into it, I'd probably give it a nice good wash, like a sepia wash or a non-oil. But honestly, it looks actually pretty damn good. I really wish I had an airbrush because I know like one of the big thing people do is they airbrush. I think it's called grime paint. It's like a weathering paint for an airbrush, and you just
Okay.
kind of spray it all on, and it like gets in the creases. Looks kind of makes it muddy. But other than that, I was very surprised at how it turned out. So I spent literally like 2 or 3 days spraying. It was about 3 or 4 cans of black spray and 2 cans of yeah. No, it was. So I have a lot of buildings. I have. You've seen them. They're like the
Yeah.
old building of the company that's defunct. I don't know. Those because I also use them for BattleTech too and Drop Zone. That's why some of those buildings are from
Yeah.
Drop Zone, which work really well.
So are you calling them done now then?
Yeah.
Okay.
The amount of wash it would take to wash every single one of those buildings is astronomical. Like I said, let me see here. Hold on. There are around like 25, 30 buildings that I have
Well,
of various size.
what I would
And I'm not
say
going to wash all of them.
is if your actual goal was to wash them, you wouldn't wash them with a typical wash. You would, you know,
Airbrush. I'd
well,
airbrush
yeah,
them.
you'd airbrush it, but even then, you wouldn't use like a pot of GW wash because it's who knows how
No.
much going to run you. You're gonna find like some large scale stuff. You're gonna find like
Yeah.
what people used to do when they used to dip models. You're essentially
That's
gonna
what I
find
would
something
do.
like a dip.
Dip it in a bucket. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you get it by a bucket and essentially you
But
lather it on them or something like that. Yeah, that's the only way to do
but
that.
meh. It's for a Titanicus event in December, and honestly, it's enough. Like I said, he's bringing I think 3 or 4. We have I think 16 or 20 people showing up.
Oh, wow,
So
nice.
yeah, no, it's yeah. So I'll see if I could find it so you could put it on one of the links for the
Yeah,
podcast. What the
yeah,
name of it is?
I can put it in
But
the
yeah,
show
it's
notes.
because they're doing a Titanicus campaign, or not a sorry, a slow grow league for Titanicus. I'm not part of the slow
Oh,
grow, but it's
this is the
this is basically an
culmination.
event for the slow grow league, but also this is no, actually not the end
Oh,
result. This is
really?
just the beginning.
Oh, okay,
But
very
it's
nice.
also for old. Yeah, so it's for people who want to bring 1750. But it's also for people who are starting out at the 750. So it was really good. It's really cool.
Is it
Um,
full currently?
I'm not actually sure. Oh, yeah,
Okay.
I wish I had it in front of me.
Well, when
But
you get a chance, yeah, if you send it, I'll take a
yeah,
look.
I'll probably mention it next week. And
Yeah.
I'll give you like I'll leave the information because it's actually really cool. It's the Battle of the Space Elevator though, so he's building a huge, I think 5 foot space elevator for one of the tables because when you hobby, you might as well go hard, right?
Oh, yeah.
We're insane, goddamn crazy. And then Constantine Valdor finally came in. Thank God.
And you've been
So I
waiting on
ordered
this
him
guy since September?
since September.
Oh my
And
gosh.
they actually sent me an apology email saying that if I wanted to cancel my order, and I'm like, no, I will hold out for the Emperor. And he came. And I was so I don't know when was the last time you ordered anything from Forge World, Dave, but
Honestly,
yeah.
probably close to pre-pandemic. It's been quite a
So
while since I've ordered from them.
I don't know. So I'm still figuring this out. I think Forge World changed their resin because the model is much darker, much
Okay.
less sheen or like oil, and it's durable. It actually, I honestly thought it was a plastic model when I picked it up. I don't know if they're just, and someone was telling me that they're just doing it for the characters. Someone said no, they've changed the resin formula like a couple months ago, but this model was exceptionally different from like the other resin models I purchased from them. And honestly, I'm really happy about it. Like, it is a thick, like, it just feels like a good full plastic model. It's not plastic, it's resin, but just the way it is. And there was no sheen. There was no sheen, very little oil to clean up, very little flash. It's very weird because, it's Forge World, so you expect some cleanup, you expect some bendies, but
I mean,
nothing.
any sheen or anything like that would be from the mold release agent. I guess
Yeah,
whatever they've changed to, they don't need as much, or they just don't use it as much.
it's just it's such a weird. Again, it feels like I'm working with plastic. It's exceptionally odd, but it's a cool model, so I can't complain. And then last one, and then I bought Bastion, and so I don't play Stormcast at all. I do not play Stormcast. Never will play Stormcast. So why the hell
Why?
did I buy Bastion? The special
Why won't you play him then?
because I
Do you have
I
something
already play
against
Custodes.
actual good guys?
Yeah, no, because I play Custodes, and honestly, I don't want to. No, because I also have the ogres. I have the bajillion points of ogres, and I kind of like the. I don't like the lore of Stormcast. Stormcast. I don't know. They just don't click with me. Ogres are just kind of funnier and fatty and thick and hungry all the time. I don't know. It just kind of relates to me more. I just no, but I saw this amazing model on Reddit, on the Custodes Reddit, where someone took Bastion and took the Judicar sword with the it's basically this huge executioner sword. And took a Venatari head and then put some Alaris bits on it to make it more Custodes.
Mhm.
It was one of the coolest conversions I've ever seen in my entire life. It looked amazing. So I'm just pretty much copying that exact conversion with minor differences.
So,
Because I have all the extra bits.
so is the primary of the model the Stormcast model, the Bastion model?
Yes.
Is that what it is?
It is
Okay, and then you're essentially putting things
basically
on him.
Bastion. Yes, basically Bastion. The head is changed. You change the not you really change the cape, but you put stuff around the cape to make it look
Okay.
more, and then you change the chest piece a little bit to make it more. And you give it a shoulder pad, obviously from the Custodes. You don't use the Bastion shoulder blade, so there's things you do to make it look more Custodes. And then that Venatari head on top just made it look like it just looks like an amazing model. It's disgusting looking. And I think it's just that, and I kind of wanted to stand in either as like a blade champion, which is one of the new models coming out, or just even just a shield captain. Because honestly, I don't have enough of those. I only have 10 of those, 10 shield
How
captains.
how
I'm pretty
how
sure.
many are realistic for you to run shield captain wise?
2.
Two.
But remember, I
You got
don't.
you
So I
got
don't
10.
magnetize. People always ask me why. It's because I don't magnetize. So what I do is I build a shield captain for every variant. So, for example, I have 2 shield captains with spears, 2 shield captains with sword and board, 2 or 3 Alaris captains. I have 3 bike captains. So I have a what's the word I'm looking for? Basically, a shield captain for every situation. I don't know if that made any sense.
At some point, we're gonna have to do an episode, and the goal is to start putting some stuff on YouTube as well. We'll have to make it where we
Yeah.
actually do it so we can see it. We're gonna have to do it and talk about magnetizing and how to do it well and how to do it easily.
Oh yeah,
That is that is
Dremel.
too much. Yeah, a
Just for
Dremel for
stick
one thing,
one.
but also that's just so much. That's so much work.
Oh
You're
yeah, no, I
doing.
know. That's why I didn't. I was never going to magnetize that many models. I know people have. I know one of my
I'm
30K.
saying the
Wait,
magnetizing is
wait, wait,
easier than
wait,
buying all
wait.
those models
Wait, are you
and then
ready?
painting
Oh
them
no, no,
all.
no, no, no! You're out of your mind. I have
No,
one
it's easier.
30K friend who has literally magnetized every single one of his tanks so that when they're destroyed, they fall apart and they're wreckage on the table.
Well, I mean, that actually is pretty cool. That's a bit much. That's more than I would do, but overall, that is pretty cool.
Yeah. No, but that's it. It seems like a lot, but that's really it. It's just the Thunderhawk purchase, the Constantine Valdor, which again freaked me out because I thought it was I thought from Forge World it was a recast. That's how weird it
Mm.
was. Um, the buildings where I just lost all the brain cells and the Bastion.
It's been a lot of stuff.
That's been the week.
Yeah, I mean that's quite a bit. So that's really realistically been about 2 weeks because last week we did Marvel, and since you don't play, I had some other people on to talk about that. But either way, I mean that's still a lot of stuff in 2 weeks. That's being all.
Oh yeah.
So
Definitely.
we'll move forward to a bit of games.
All right.
Honestly, I haven't. This week I didn't get out yet. Tomorrow's the day that we go out. That I tend to go out, but I mean miniature game wise, no. I played some Marvel last week and should be talking about that hopefully next week.
Nice.
That was about it. We started other game wise. We started the Mad Titan Shadow campaign box for Marvel Champions, which is the card game that FFG does.
Okay.
So we started that. Hopefully, Saturday we're gonna go through more of that. But no, I've been painting far too much and playing just a whole bunch of Gloomhaven to actually get out and about lately. How about you? Have you been any better than I have?
No, so I mean I'm still not allowed out to hobby stores. I'm still in jail. I'm still in house jail. But I was able to go to a 30K event. So it's the same one I mentioned a couple podcasts ago, where once a month essentially there's a 30K event with different narratives, but it's basically a campaign without being a campaign.
Mhm.
But this time it was Thanksgiving. Get it? Because Thanksgiving,
Yep.
whatever. And essentially the theme was, we're on a hostile world. It's super hostile, like don't walk outside kind of nonsense. So everything needed a transport or some sort of dedicated transport or tanks or walkers. And it was so stupid fun. I'm laughing because the games were just so ridiculously stupid. We had Iron Warrior players who brought because Iron Warriors can take a special detachment where Predator tanks become troops.
Ooh.
There's like 6 Predator
Right.
tanks, 2 Vindicators, some Mastodons on the table. Someone just brought a Warhound and 3 Imperial Knights, which was great. I brought the 6 Contemptors, just kind of walking up the board like 7 Samurai, because there was 6 Contemptors and basically a Telemon. So it was like the 7 Samurai walking up the table. And the games were so stupid. They were so dumb. I played against a Thousand Suns player, so Thousand Suns use a lot of psychic abilities, especially in 30K as well, where psychers don't really exist in Warhammer 100,000. They're very rare. But he took a Baneblade with him, which again is so weird, but Space Marines have access to them. And the Baneblade just drives forward and smushes my Contemptor, trying to like slice it down. It just runs over the Contemptor, killing it. And then another game, someone brought a Lancer Knight, or not a Lancer Knight, a Castigator, which is a gigantic sword, but also like a double-barreled, like Vulcan, not a Vulcan bolter, but it's basically one of those like super rapid-fire bolt cannons. And that was so charges my Contemptor,
Okay.
right, and he doesn't kill it, and I'm really happy. He brings it down to 1 whole point, which I'm like, yes, okay. I don't do anything back to it, but whatever. He then stomps. And when he stomps, he hits 2 Contemptors. The 1 Contemptor he hit doesn't really do anything to it, but the other Contemptor that was already hurt, he hits it and destroys it. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So he stomps again, right? Because he rolled 2 stomps. And he rolls a 6. And a 6 on an Imperial Knight stomp is the biggest hit. It's basically 6 auto wounds at plus D6 wounds. And you get no save. And if it's infantry, you're just removed from the table. You're just gone. He stomped you. So the healthy Contemptor gets stomped. And if it's a vehicle, you roll a scatter die, and it gets kicked that many distances, and it hits. And so he hits my palace tank, which then also got damaged. And so we're all sitting. And then, of course, my Contemptor with the spear charged him, gored him out, like destroyed him, absolutely murdered him. As the knight blew up, it also again rolled a 6, which is the biggest explosion, and just destroyed the final Contemptor. It was.
So he hit your one model, hit you into a
My
different
3
model
Contemptors.
that hit into a different
Yes.
model? Okay.
Yes. And then
Want to make sure I was following that correctly.
and then my last Contemptor on the whole board charged his knight, right? Charged his knight. The knight dies completely, but when a knight dies, it blows up in a big explosion. He so happened to roll the explosion, scatter it directly on top of my Contemptor, and then he rolled a 6 which is the 6 plus D6 wounds, wiping out that last contemptor. So that entire section of the board, I think we were playing 2,000 point games. That entire section of the board lost 1,200 points in one turn.
Oh my god, that's
It
a lot.
was a
That
good
sounds
day.
like a whole lot.
I mean, yeah, our friend James was there. He was running just land. I think 3 or 4 land raiders full of world eaters with chain axes. And of course, world leaders don't care if they charge across deadly terrain.
Yeah.
So the land raiders just roll up, poop out like let's do math. They would poop out 10, Spartans hold 20. So 20, 40, 50, 60 world leaders.
Ooh.
Only 60 space marines with chain axes. And they would just poop out and just charge. It was such a fun day.
So,
Yeah.
how many rounds was it? Was it 3?
3.
Okay.
It was 3, and we actually finished by like 4 o'clock because the rounds were, since you have so many points in tanks, they're not like 40k where they have wounds. They use the old vehicle tables, so if you can just blow up a tank if you shoot it with a melta. So
Yeah.
the games went pretty quickly, but they were very close quick. You know what I mean? It would end by turn 3, turn 4, but yeah.
Oh, that's good. Hey, as long as you enjoyed yourself. Did they have they scheduled? They did this monthly, so have they scheduled
Yeah.
what would it be, the December event then?
No, they have not scheduled the December event yet. I'm praying that it's a Zone Mortalis. I missed their last Zone Mortalis event, and they have some amazing, amazing boards for Zone Mortalis. Hold on. Excuse me, Bernie. Bernie, can I help you? The peanut butter is not for you. Don't give me that look. Sorry, my dog is now 60 pounds and knows how to get on the counter, so he's using that to his advantage.
Your dog's huge.
Oh, yeah, he got big so quick, but he's such a big boy. He's such a big goofball. Such a big goofball. But no, it's the December, but I hope it's Zone Mortalis because I missed the last one, and God, I love Zone Mortalis, and they have I think 3 or 4 boards of it. It's absolutely insane. It's just it looks, I think, the best. I think it's one of the best looking games to play. Period. Just because the hallways and the doors, it just looks good.
When done well, yes. When you have the right terrain, or you have like the official terrain, let's say, yeah, it has a very good look. Really does.
Yeah. And especially since we all paint our armies, and we're all kind of crazy about that. There's no explicit rule of bring unpainted, but it's we all bring painted models.
Yeah,
But to
it's
see
an
it on the
unspoken rule.
I mean, to be fair, I think our friend Brett, they you only have 4 Zone Mortalis labels, but you have extra people show up, so they even set up like a Zone Mortalis table with like jungle,
Yeah.
and it was basically bunkers and just heavy duty jungle because they had a million trees at this place, and you just could not cut through the jungle. So I thought that was pretty cool too. It's overall so great.
Nice. I'm glad you enjoy it. It's at least it's a way for you to be able to get out, get some form of gaming in, while you wait out the world. All right. Anything else on that avenue for you?
Oh, that's it.
All right.
That's really it.
Nice. All right. So we'll move on over into news. We'll start with 40K because that's what we have listed here first. So the first thing, so we're talking a little bit about 2 weeks. We'll talk about stuff that's of interest, then we'll mention the other stuff that doesn't interest us quite as much. I think one of the big things they did within the last 2 weeks was the rules balancing that they did.
Yep. And oh boy, I mean, just to give you, like I said, just a quick glance through, they nerfed Mechanicus a point wise. So a normal 2,000 point list is now 2,250. So overall, increase of points. Dark Eldar, same thing. They nerfed the points, so thank God for that. And this actually showed up. I mean, we were looking at. I like to follow the tournaments a lot, and it did shake up the meta. It did shake up the meta a lot. You always, oh God, every single tournament, Dark Eldar top table, Mechanicus top table, Orcs top table. They also hurt Orcs. I'll get to that in a second. But now you're seeing like Tyranids. You're seeing, Custodians always place the top. So Custodians, they're great. Like I said, Custodians is solid A tier. They might not place first, but they'll definitely place top 5. and that's good for eternal balance. So they're fine. Leave them alone. But now you're seeing like just other stuff place, and it's good to see that it's healthy. That's what you want. You want everything placing besides Dark Eldar and Mechanicus, and then orcs. So, okay.
It's all them buggies.
So yeah, it's not so. It wasn't even the buggies. So yes, they nerfed the buggies, where you could only take a certain amount of buggies per game. But they
3 of
nerfed
each.
flyers. So they nerfed flyers, and this is for everyone, by the way. They nerfed flyers, which, by the way, it sucks for some armies like Tau. There's an actual flying flyer that comes in groups of 3. You can't use that because you can only take 2 now.
Yep.
So it's an
Depending
illegal
on point
model.
size, but typical point size, yeah, it would be 2.
Yeah, but like 2,000 points, yeah. But it's a normal like drone. It's a drone model that a lot of people have. You would take a squads of 3, but now you can't take. But anyway, so the big thing was orcs had this list called it's basically bugging and flyer spam, and it's just no fun to play against because they can quite literally kill. This happened during a tournament, a live recorded tournament of one of the most popular and one of the best players of Warhammer 40,000, Sean Naden, was tabled on turn 1, losing out of his 2,000 point army 1,990 points in
And
one turn of shooting.
we're talking about a player who I'm assuming he was not seized on.
No, he was not. He went
So,
first.
I would say because I mean this is a player who would know very well what he's going against, the
Exactly.
potential
Yeah.
it has, and would play around it as best as possible. So if someone like him is essentially getting tabled turn 1, then you have a problem because it's not like he did something where he made a horrible mistake.
No, yeah, no, and it's the thing. The problem with flyers, it's the same problem with flyers in every game. It's they're not interactable.
Yeah.
You use them, you shoot them, and then you can't really kill them. So it's a not fun part of the game, especially if you spam them. So that was the rules balance. There were a couple other things like I'm laughing because my friend John, Imperial Guard got their Lehman Russes buffed to 2+ armor save.
Yep.
Bane Blades are still 3+ though, which I don't know why. And they changed their orders too, and then just a couple of things overall. But overall, that was the rules balance. The big thing was curbing Adeptus Mechanicus, curbing the Orcs, and curbing the Dark Eldar. And in my opinion, I think they did an excellent job of doing that.
It needed to be done. I'm glad that they did it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can always hope that they just write better rules so this doesn't happen. But even in smaller game system, it happens. And there's tons and tons of factions in this game, and new models coming out every week. So it's very tough to balance.
20 factions? It's nuts, yeah.
But if they're willing to do this more often, I think that's good.
Quarterly. Oh, that was the thing. They did say quarterly.
They did say quarterly? Okay.
Yes, they did say quarterly. That was a big response. A lot of people, that was their biggest response, to do rule updates quarterly, and they said, we'll do it. We'll do it. So I was like, let's see if we hold them up to that promise.
Quarterly, I think, is a good rate. Quarterly gives you enough time, especially with how big 40K is. Quarterly gives you enough time for people to actually get out there, have a couple tournaments, play in a couple big ones, and then you can see, like, is it okay or is it problematic?
When these get fixed, exactly.
It's several months, and then you can kind of see, like, what happened. Has someone else now? Oh, in these 7 big tournaments, did one army shake out right to the top? Because if so, maybe there's a little bit of a problem.
Yeah, I mean, we knew there was a problem with, again, for months now, just the same 3 armies being top, and it wasn't even that they were top first; they were first, second, and third. It's
that's a feel bad.
No, that was it's not that they were just first place with someone else second or third. They were consistently first, second, and also third place. So no, it's just no. But the Black Templars came out too as well.
Yeah, they did, and they came out. It looks, I think it was a overall like a 2-week release. They did the main box, a few things, and then they did a lot of heroes the second week.
Yeah, and I think I'm looking at the pre-orders now. They look good. They're a really cool army. I love them back in I still have that book too, the 4th edition rulebook. That thing is falling to pieces, but their cover of the 4th edition rulebook, and they still look cool in my opinion. They're still cool. Not something I'd play, but they look awesome.
Now, are there characters actual new models for a lot of these?
Yeah, the castle is
Okay.
new. The champion, so the Emperor's Champion is a new model. That's a Primaris Emperor's
Okay.
Champion. Helbrecht
Hmm.
is new, and amazing with the servitor cleaning the plate. The memes, the freaking memes of that stupid servitor, have been just all over the internet, and it's amazing. They have him like cleaning the Emperor's throne. They have him cleaning a gene stealer. Like it's just they have him like in like different things, and it's just hilarious. They crop them out. The Sword Brethren are new. The Primaris
Okay.
Crusader Squad is new. Yeah, so
Yeah.
all of this that you
Okay, so
see is
everything is
actually
new.
new.
I wasn't sure because sometimes when they list it as a pre-order, when it's an army that is just coming out, essentially, they'll just rebox something and still call it
Exactly.
a pre-order.
Yeah.
But okay, no, it's good. That's all new then.
No, they did. They did. Yeah, no, they did a good job. Um, yeah, no. And then the Black Templar dice. Yeah, no, you got the. It's a good release.
Okay.
And then of course Warzone came out. I believe,
Yep.
right?
Yep. They have the book 2 that they're doing for Octarius. I don't know all of what's in it. I think they did. What was the big things in there?
Tyranids.
Uh, no, the
So
first
these are
one was
armies I don't play.
Tyranids. Book
So who's
1 was
this?
Tyranid stuff. This book, I think, has some stuff so you can actually do your own like rogue trader things. Yeah, if
Ooh,
memory
okay, that sounds
serves, I
cool.
remember
Not
looking at
again, not
it
something I do,
just a
but
little bit, but I mean, I don't really follow. Oh yeah, yeah. So they gave some rotator rules and things like that. They gave them some warlord traits and all. So it's Index Astra
nice.
Cartographica.
What was
So essentially, they now have something you can do with that.
Rogue Traders? Oh, and Orcs. I guess Orcs.
Yep,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, that's
Orcs got one
right.
as well.
That's right, because we were talking about the speed mob, how they
Yep,
they were making jokes about the speed mob is nerfed before it actually came out because
yep,
people were
yeah.
thinking the
Blood
speed
Axes
mob
and
was gonna.
Speed Mob.
Yeah, okay. Now I'm understanding. Yeah, I remember this. I remember this. Again, not armies I'd play, but it's cool that they're doing this. This is something I like, and people play and I do know people that play the campaigns. So
Yeah,
yeah,
the
it's all more power to them.
road trader stuff I think is especially nice because that's something that if you've been in the hobby long enough, that's something that got people into the hobby. You know,
Yeah,
so anything related to that, any way which you can splash it in, um, anything of interest related to that is nice. It's reminding people of what you used to
yeah.
have.
Oh no, absolutely, absolutely.
So I know that they came out with that. I saw originally I was looking through. It looks like they also had. I wasn't sure if this was new or not because I thought they had it out before. But at one point they had some pre-orders and all for some Gaunt's Ghost models that were actually sold out at that point. But I thought they had
Oh,
already done
yeah.
Gaunt's Ghosts.
Idea. Again, this is not. I don't play them, so I have no idea. Sadly,
I try to keep up with the
you know what I
news. I
mean.
try to read through it most days just to kind of see what's out there, and even if it doesn't like apply to me, just like, hey, what's cool, what's going on.
It is new models. I will tell you that. I remember because I know
Okay,
our friend Brian has the Gaunt's Ghost. These are absolutely new models.
okay, so if they're new
It's
models.
probably
No, then
yeah.
it is new. If they're new
All
models,
right.
then it is new.
And
Yeah,
these are 100% new models. Yes.
sold out entirely, but they are
Yeah.
new then.
Yeah. What else we got? The Holiday Battle Forces came out.
Yeah, you know what they are
Okay.
for 40K? Because we'll start with
Yes.
theirs.
They just
Okay.
So it's Space Marines, so
Here
I'll
we
go
go.
over each one very quickly. Like so Space
I
Marines,
got 6 of them.
it's actually a pretty good battle force. The Land Raider, whatever it's called, the Land Speeder, the Thick Boy Land Speeder, not a lot of use, but you got the Intercessors, you got the Captain, you got the Shield Brethren, or I can't speak today, the Blade Guard Vets, which everyone uses. You have Assault Intercessors, which are great, Heavy Intercessors, which are great, Storm Speeder, whatever, just build it and keep it. But otherwise, that's a good box. It's a good box. The Sister Box, eh.
I
Actually,
think
no, it
it's
comes.
fine. If you're
It
doing
comes. Yeah,
sisters, that has the stuff
yeah.
that you want.
I mean, it comes with the Sacrosands, which everyone's using. Everyone has battle system. Oh, it comes actually with stupid idiot. It does come with the extra stink. So yeah, actually no, I like it. It's a good book. Mechanicus, oh poor Mechanicus. So everything that you see here was nerfed.
But they were nerfed just
Everything
point
that you,
wise. They're still just
yes,
they're
yes,
still strong, but it's their points.
powerful,
Their
yes.
their guys on little flyer sort of on their wings.
The pitch
I don't
attractants.
like.
So that was one of the major ones that. So do you know the controversy for them? What they got?
Oh,
So they had a stratagem
okay.
that it was I think 1 or 2 CP. It doesn't matter. It could have been 10 CP. It was still too powerful. You could deploy them deep strike, right?
Okay.
And then you can remove them off the board on the same turn. On the same player turn, sorry. Player turn. Not
Ooh.
game
Oh,
turn,
okay.
player turn. So they can come down, shoot 1, 2, 3, 6d6 flamers that can do mortal wounds, and then you can immediately remove them off the board to
Hmm.
do that again. Yeah, it was just no, it was it was just awful. But besides the nerfs, this is still a good box. The Iron
Yeah.
Strider, the Ball Star, get rid of it. But you got the horses, I can't say any of their damn names. The
Cerberus
Cerberus
Raiders.
Raiders. You have
Yep.
the Taraxi. I'm assuming the
Yeah.
P is
Taraxi.
silent.
Yeah.
Yep. You
They're
have
pterodactyl. Yeah.
yeah. You got all the you got all the good stuff here. This box, the Plague Fest. Okay, so this is the big one that everyone's happy about. This one apparently is like, please pick up. This one is everyone's going to pick up, especially if you're a Nurgle player. But listen, even if you're not a Nurgle player and you want to start a Death Guard force just a little bit, pick this up immediately. This is amazing. I'm hoping they didn't release the prices, did they? No,
Not
they didn't.
yet,
But it's
but
always a good deal.
the
Yeah,
battle forces in the past have always fallen right around 200, and so every speculation is that they're going to fall exactly in the same. I
exactly. Yeah,
think, if memory serves, I think for the 40K they actually did release the prices, and I want to say they're between 199 and 209. I
let's see.
believe they did for the 40K. They did
I'm trying
not
to
do that
think.
yet for Sigmar.
Yeah. All right, but yeah, no, pick that up. It's amazing. You got the three. Sorry,
Plague
you got
Burst Crawlers.
yeah, you got
Oh, sorry.
no.
Blight. Oh,
Plague
sorry.
House
No,
Crawlers
no.
with
The
the
Myoxic
mythic Blight
Blight Haulers.
Haulers. Yeah,
The
yeah.
Blight Haulers.
You got the Death Shroud Terminators. You got the actual troops. Though you pick this up. This is amazing. And I mean, if you zoom in real carefully, Dave, you also get free of charge the most amazing model in the entire game. Like literally the entire game. This is the number one sought after model in the entire game. You
Which one's
zoom in
that?
on that
All
picture,
right.
right in the middle rock. You see he's at the base. He's got a little helmet on. He's got his hand on his hip. The Nurgling,
Oh, yeah.
the sassy Nurgling, quite possibly the most OP person in the entire Warhammer 40,000. Oh, sassy Nurgling.
I do love it.
Um,
I got a couple random Nurglings in
all
here
right,
in
let's
one of
say
the boxes that I'm working on.
sassy Nurgling is best Nurgling. I would literally put him on a 120 millimeter base on a pile of skulls and make him like a demon prince. The Necron one, I had to ask one of my friends, Jake, what he thought of it. He loved it. Um, Especially because so here's the fun part: core, 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 core. So the of
Yes.
Necrons. Oh, I forgot about that. Necrons and the new FAQ got a butt ton of new core models. So the big problem with Necrons was they had like I think it was 2 choices that were core. And
Yeah.
now they have like 8, which is oh my god, so good. And the core is what gets buffed. Like you could pass buffs to core units. So this was a big change for Necrons, and honestly, this box is great. Um, and also, I just love the new look. Remember the old Necrons? Look at how
Yes.
cool these look now, man. They just
I do like
look
them more.
so amazing.
Their big walkers are very War of the Worlds in terms of
Yes.
appearance. I think some of it's also the scheme. I think they've learned to paint Necrons in more interesting ways. These have almost a sort of bronzy shimmer to them. Not exactly a bronze, but more of like a
Maybe
bronze
copper.
type
Yeah.
look. Yeah, or it could even actually maybe be a copper. So I think it just has a more interesting paint palette, so it looks better. It reads a bit better.
Yeah. And then of course you have the orcs, which well, they're orcs. Anything you use in orcs is pretty good. You really can't go wrong. Orcs are orcs. Yeah, that's the Warhammer 40,000 stuff. And then
That's
where's
quite a
this?
bit.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's not even the Sigmar stuff. You talk about Sigmar.
Okay, so we'll talk a little about the Sigmar one.
Yeah.
Sigmar's getting 4. So they're getting quite a bit less. They have the Soulblight Gravelords are getting 1. They're getting, I don't know if you have it open, but they're
Right.
getting. Huh? Okay.
No, I have it open. I have it open.
The big old, what is he? Bestial Venegor Lord. Yeah,
He's a
I don't like
Vengorian
him.
Lord. He's the Vengorian Lord. Yeah.
He's 2 separate models that they fuse together.
So the reason I like him, and it's a tough topic because I know why people hate him. I know why. They
Because he
paint him.
looks dumb.
They paint him the wrong way. There are some really, 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 really good paint schemes that people have done that do the model justice. GW kind of has this very cartoony way of painting them. You know, the really pale skin, the bluish kind of skin. But there are ways to like paint him correctly, in my opinion. And I mean, you could just look on Google, but like people have done a good job.
I look at him, and not that he looks like this, but I see like the alien from the end of like Alien Resurrection, where it's like, ooh,
I
you
see what
look
you mean,
at
yeah.
it and it just feels
Like, yeah.
wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, they get some good stuff in the box. So it's 66
40
models.
zombies.
Realize that this is an army where you get tons of models because it has 40 zombies.
Fucking 40
20,
zombies.
20
Jesus
skeletons,
Christ.
40 zombies, and then you have your blood knights, which it's a great way to get blood knights and things like that, because those are models, at least the older ones, were very tough to get and very expensive for certain ones like that.
Oh yeah, they were.
Battleforces, so Hedon Knights of Slaanesh are getting a box. Obviously less models, but still quite a bit. They're getting 10 of their warriors, 5 exalted seekers, 10 of their archers. So I can't speak to the exact how good some of those
I
boxes
actually
are.
never played them and never played
No,
against them. That's the weird part.
I haven't put in for some of their rules, so I'm not too sure. The Lumineth, anything with Lumineth is good. Lumineth have some very strong
amazing.
rules.
Yes.
Especially I see at least one large bow in the back, which is always nice because that's the kind of stuff to start Shard Ballista. And then you have the much maligned Osiarch Bone Reapers. I think they look great. I think the models are very cool, and the army seems to very, very much underperform.
Well, because so what happened? This one, they when they first came out, their rules were very like. I know you would only take one of their, what are they called, legions? I can't remember. Every faction has its own like subsections, and I think theirs are called legions. But there's one legion that gave you +1 armor, and honestly, that's +1 armor, and they can re-roll their armor saves. Was amazing on a basic line troop. Now they nerfed it and changed some rules around, especially with the new edition, how command points work. That's kind of what basically they're an not 8th edition. There's not 40k. They're a second edition. They're a second edition Sigmar army playing in 3rd edition.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
They're not near the bottom. So one of the things they did for Sigmar is they put out just some information on the meta and what's going on. They're close to the bottom. They're not necessarily at the bottom. Gloomspire gets her at the bottom. But they're a bit low down for being one of the more newer factions, one of the newer sets of models. They're quite a bit low, but they look really nice.
Yeah, they look really nice. It's just, but they were really good. They got hit with the nerf bad really hard, so the pendulum swings. So hopefully it's more to the middle when their new book comes out. Also, I mean, this is not a battle force, but it looks like Maggotkin of Nurgle are coming out with something new.
So they are the next ones getting their book.
So
yeah, Maggotkin and Nurgle is the next book.
God, slight note, I actually really wanted to start a Nurgle army, a Nurgle demon army. It's been like itching me in the back of the head, and I keep fighting it off. But
if you hadn't gotten those nameplates, you could have had yourself a whole Nurgle 100%.
Army. Oh yeah, no, I already priced it out and everything. But could you imagine? No, but I didn't want to paint that. I was like, I paid all my custodians. I'm done. But these look really nice. I like them. And it's good. Um,
So how about the
yeah, and
last bit
then
in 40K is your sad news? Go to your sad news.
speaking of custodies, the codex got pushed back to the first quarter of 2022, and it's not even
Mhm.
January; it's first quarter. It's like
They left it
January,
vague on purpose.
February,
They don't know.
March. Yeah, they don't know. This has happened before. I will point out. This happened actually with 30K. So the big thing with 30K was supposed to release for December, right? It was supposed to be the
Mhm.
big Christmas release. Shipping happened, and so they switched that release time slot with other things like Warcry, essentially. Um, and I mean, listen, the world sucks right now. Shipping is
Yeah.
broken down. I mean, I'm not going to blame them, but oh god, it sucks. But here's the thing: and we talked about this a little bit before. Just release the electronic codex. Just do it. Just
Yep.
do it. It's stupid enough there. Listen, probably would do this. I'm not going to call me stupid, although it's
You'll
right.
buy both.
Some
You'd buy
people,
both.
some people would buy both. Yeah, some people will buy both. Some for the lore and some for the rules. Make the electronic codex $10 for the rules, and then the normal codex is what, $20, 25.
30, I think, when they do supplements, it's 30. When they do a normal book,
Yeah.
it's 50.
So really, it's
Yeah.
50 for a codex.
Yup. When they do a
Jeez.
normal full codex, yeah. They do it
Huh.
as less for Space Marines because those books have very little to them because it's essentially when they do like the Black Templar book is 30 because it's not really that much in it. There's a little bit and then here's some models, but the other part's all in your Space Marine codex kind of thing. But no, the normal
Yes.
books, no, they do is more. Yeah,
Oh,
they do like
okay, okay.
50. Almost all
Okay.
their books are standard for like 50 now.
Um, Age of Sigmar got some new stuff as well.
They did. So one of them is the game day model that they're doing that. So normally GW does these game day models, and if you don't either go there or go to their stores, there's various rules depending on what they're doing. You can't get them. But this one, they're going to do a release purely online. You can go get it, no queues, anything like that to try to get it. So Cloven Horn is the one they're coming out with, which I know I had her up here somewhere.
Yeah,
She looks fine. She looks
fine.
like a
Looks
chaos.
cool. Yeah, it looks cool.
Yeah,
It looks like a chaos model. You
yeah.
have the
I
Warcry
wasn't
stuff.
too into it.
Got the Warcry
Yeah,
stuff
work.
coming
It
out as
just came
well
out.
that we talked about last time. Yep.
It came out last
Yep. Oh
week,
yeah.
including now that they're showing at least more about the war bands being sold separately for Warcry. So if you like any of those things, you can actually get a lot of the war bands now independently rather than out of their boxes. Usually, it's about a year ahead. Um, the battle forces, which we talked about, which if you're looking to get in, those are a really great way to get in because each of
Yes.
those, I'll put together and figure out the points on some of those. I'm sure other people have, but they're probably all a reasonable amount of points by the look of it. But
Yeah. Just
potentially,
because they have the one big thing.
yeah, potentially not the one with 40 zombies and 20 skeletons and all because they might be super cheap, but it's probably still a reasonable amount.
All right.
And then the only other thing I saw for Sigmar, and I just noticed this right before we were recording, so I wrote it down because I do have an Oculus too, so I have a VR headset and all.
Oh, you do?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I've had
Okay.
it for a while. Yeah, it's the only way I play certain things now, like Phasmophobia and all, because it's so much spookier when you feel like you're walking
Okay.
in there and trying to run away from like a ghost that's hunting you and wants you dead or spirit.
Okay. Makes sense.
But they have a VR game that just released actually. As of when this will have been released, it'll be active now, called Tempest Fall. And it happens on the realm of Shiath, which is the realm of death. And you are a Stormcast Eternal. You start off just showing up in your finest golds. I was reading through the article. I don't know exactly what you do, but obviously you're going to be fighting a whole lot of ghosts and ghouls and all those sort of things. It does look pretty cool. They actually mentioned that even Ina Thiefkin might jump into the fray, so I'm curious to try it out. I have not checked for it on my Oculus 2 yet because I haven't had time, but later I do want to check. And hopefully within 2 weeks, I can actually mention a little bit of what it's like.
Yeah, it's a good little review. I can't review it, but yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, I do want to. I'm just curious to see how much it ends up being. It looks like they're putting it at 30. at least on Steam, which is not it's not terrible for this kind of stuff. That's not awful. So I'll take a look.
Okay.
Or there's some other ways to maybe be able to try it out. So I'll take a look into that. But I'm always looking for more stuff to do on my Oculus because it is a lot of fun. And even if you're a person even who wears glasses, I wear glasses. You can set it so that way you can actually use your glasses in it, or you can get prescription lenses to go inside. I still have to do that, but it works quite well, honestly. So those are those I think are the two big sets of things for the 40K. The Sigmar for 30K. I see you put down a few things.
Just only two things really. The new Porphyrian Knight came out.
Okay.
With the big, like, huge guns on the side, which is so goofy looking. It's actually better. Funny enough, it's weirdly enough better on the Titanicus model than it is on the 28 mil model. On the 28 mil model, it's like it's really big. It's annoyingly big. It looks kind of goofy, but
so the arms you think look too big on the other model?
Sane. The big thing. Yeah. No, the arms are massive. Those are huge conversion beamers. But then also, again, I don't know. They're just bringing out these 30K models out of nowhere. But the Sons of Horus Praetor is coming out, which looks beautiful. It's oh man, I like the fact that they're going back and giving each legion a Praetor. They're like redoing them because each legion did originally have a Praetor, but
so
now they're really going back. Oh, Praetor is your HQ, is your head HQ. These are the guys that run most of the legion. These the top HQs, if you will.
Got it. Big man in charge.
In 30, yeah. In 30K, there's like 10 or 15 different HQs you can choose. Hell, you can have your HQ an elite apothecary. But Praetors are your like big HQ leaders. And he's wearing Terminator armor. He looks good. He looks good.
Nice.
Which since we're talking about Titanicus, I do want to mention that GW also released the Armature Knights, the baby Armature.
Well, they didn't release it. They showed it, and they're going to be Forge World Knights.
Yeah.
You don't like the Armatures?
Okay.
They look ridiculous for what it's worth. I think they look absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, they're cute. Don't get me wrong, they're cute. And if this was Epic 40,000, I would 100% agree with you. But this is not Epic 40,000. This is Titanicus. Keyword Titans. So I don't mind people bringing knights, and I don't mind knight armies, but armatures are just way too small for Titanicus. If this was Epic, I can understand, but I don't know.
I forgot at first when they talked about it and all that I was like, oh, it's armatures. That's cool. And then because I don't do much with 40K right now, I forgot how small armatures are compared to essentially knights. Like knights are already very small in that scale, and then armatures, like, what are because are armatures even classed as knights? No, right?
No, they're classed as I don't even know. Classed as walkers, basically big boy dreadnoughts. They're classed as walkers. They're not even classed as knights. Like I said, listen, if this is leading to Epic 40,000, I'm all for it. Bring it in, baby, please. Bring me Epic. Please bring me Epic. I want it in my life. But for Titanicus,
So soon we're gonna do an overview of the other thing that came out with was the Traitor Legions book. So we want to do a review of that shortly. When we do, we'll talk more about armatures, just Titanicus in general and all. They're fine. I like the one picture they do when you look through the article where they compare the size of it to the Warlord, where they like zoom it in and then they pull it back and you see it comes up to maybe half of the Warlord Titan's knee, just to show you how tiny this boy is.
Yeah, no, they're ridiculously tiny.
Yeah, they do look cool. I mean, they're Forge World resin, I believe. So that little box of Scrappy 3 is probably going to be like $60.
Yeah, it's gonna be bad.
And it's gonna be like, did they release points yet? I don't think they've shown the points yet.
No, they haven't released anything. They showed like one gun, but when they come out with the rules, I'll judge them a little bit more. But But as of
Well,
now,
my even thing is just
I don't
points
know.
to cost ratio. Knowing what those models are made of, who they're coming from, they're going to
Yeah.
be very expensive. And in the game, honestly, to be any worthwhile, they got to be very, very, very cheap. I mean, they show one. I just saw it now where they compare it to a
Yeah.
Questoris,
You're throwing
and
swarms
it's
of them.
I don't know, a third the size.
Tiny. Yeah,
You know,
it's
if you scale
tiny.
them down by a third.
Yeah, they're super tiny, and it's funny
Yeah.
because in 28 mil they're massive.
Yes.
It's they're on 100 mil bases, so it's
Yeah.
just it. Yeah, it makes sense. It makes
And I think that's something you're going to see a lot of people printing off themselves, something like it, and they're going to use that because I think it's going to be prohibitive,
yeah.
honestly, with the
We'll
costs.
see. We'll see. That's really it for news.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
All
that
right.
seems like the news. So we'll take a quick break and we'll be back with the main segment of the show. All right, and we're back. So at this point, we're going to go into the main talking point of the show, which is about trying to stay active in the hobby, trying to get interested in the hobby again. We're currently, depending on either where you live or how you want to see it, believe it, or understand it, we're either still in the midst of a pandemic, starting to come out of a pandemic, and as the weather starts getting colder, more people come inside, we could be back into a potential surging of the pandemic to some extent. So as people maybe become more mobile or potentially less mobile, the need of hobbying or desire to hobby more can fluctuate a lot. I know, at least for me, through all of this, in the beginning, it was kind of a boon, right? When it started to me in terms of hobby, at least, because couldn't really go anywhere. I started teaching from home. I no longer drove. And I work about 45 minutes to maybe about an hour, depending on traffic and all. So that's multiple hours additional. I was getting a lot of stuff done. Or just playing a lot of games and all. And then just kind of over time, kind of stopped, kind of saw less and less reason and less interest in it. How about for yourself? How's it been over the last bit?
No, it's been good. I've been doing a lot of stuff. I mean, it's a big problem with me is like I've been painting, I've been hobbying, I just
Hmm.
haven't been
Hmm.
playing. So my motivation is it wavers. Because I can go downstairs to the basement now that we bought a house. I can go down to the basement and paint, or I could play a game by myself, or I could invite someone over. But sometimes, I mean, this happened recently, like maybe 3 weeks ago. Sometimes I just don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just kind of it's weird, just fall out. Is really what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, you let's. I mean, let's. Why do we fall out, right? Like
Hmm.
you kind of listed it here. You got time, money, commitment, right?
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, it, any person's hobby, I think one of the big problems that people end up having is that you want your hobby to feel like a hobby. You don't want it to feel like a chore. You don't want it to feel like a job. You want it to feel like something you enjoy. And
yeah, fun.
yeah, different people get different things out of the hobby. For some people, maybe they really like painting and all of that. Other people absolutely hate it. They hate assembling. They just want that part over with. But at the end of the day, I mean, now if you have enough money, you can get someone else to do it for you. That's fine. But at the end of the day, for most of us, that all of it together is the hobby. So it can get tough because maybe you just don't have enough time. Like lately, I've been very busy, so I haven't been able to do as much, and it can be hard to kind of get back into the swing of it when you kind of stopped working on things for a while.
Yeah, I mean, like so, time. Not everyone has time because they're working. Fallout because of
Mhm.
money, especially because life, commitment. I don't know. See, for me, like, okay, so the number four reason is life. That's the big thing for me. Because, for
Mhm.
example, I had a daughter 2 years ago, right?
Mhm.
When she was first born, life took over. I need to feed her, wake up at night, change the diaper. That's a big change. You can't spend as much time hobbying. Now that she's a little older, she's 2 years old. I could spend a little bit more time, let her play upstairs while I go paint. Um, but it's life is one of those things that just happen. Like if I hopefully never I just lose my job, for example.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be able to hobby. That also leads to money and time, but it's just yeah, it's
I see life as the sort of that culmination of all of them. It's sort of the catch-all.
Yeah,
It is the combination of your money, your time, your commitment, your availability, your bandwidth, all of that, and any sort of phrasing you want. I think a lot of it is being willing to let life get in the way for a while, and then being aware of that, realizing it, accepting that that's okay, and then when it's not, to get back in.
yeah,
I tell this to my students because sometimes I'll have a student who's like, "Yeah, I need to withdraw." Oh, this that's going on. Sometimes they'll tell me, but I have all these different things going on, or I just didn't. I thought I would have more time, but I'm working. I'm doing all this kind of stuff, and I said, life gets in the way, and that's okay. Like,
yeah.
th-
It
yeah,
happens.
this isn't number one priority, especially hobby. But even then, school's not can't always be number one priority. And this is someone who's an educator. It's not always going to be number one priority.
Yeah,
Sometimes you got to do stuff to live.
yeah. Or mental health.
Hmm.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah. I
I
think
mean,
especially as time has gone on, the money aspect for a lot of people is definitely
oh,
rough in terms of
absolutely.
the hobby.
Oh God, the dread. What is the dreaded word now? Inflation. Is that what people are saying nowadays? I
Yeah.
mean, but even if like, I'm like, this is hitting me at an actual level. I went
Hmm.
food shopping, and what used to be $200 worth of food shopping is now like $250 or $300 worth of shopping. It hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts. Gas itself,
Yeah.
has gone up. Little tiny things that you don't think add up start adding up. For Christ's sake, I used to go to Starbucks, right?
Hmm.
I still do, but I go to Starbucks, get my kid a little strawberry Kai with water, not lemonade, so it's not too sugary. Calm down, parents. Get myself a strawberry Kai as well with lemonade. Used to go around like $8, which is not bad, but it's expensive but not bad. Now it's like $10, and that extra $2 a visit hurts.
You are the walking advertisement for those bullshit articles they write of like what to do to save your money. They're like, stop going to Starbucks. It's like, all right, that was
But
maybe like that's $10, and maybe I'll do it like once or twice a month. Like that's not what's breaking
wait,
my bank here.
only
Yeah.
once or twice a month? Uh,
Okay. Maybe you are a
sure.
walking advertisement, and you should actually follow some of that advice then.
No, no, no. Yeah, no, no. We'll just say once or twice a month. Sure. Okay. Whatever. Yeah, 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 yeah. Totally.
Maybe you should go
Totally.
down that list and just take a look at the stuff they say. Be like, oh
Oh,
man, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I do that
No,
too.
I do everything negative in those articles. I'm doing every time. Thankfully, I have a wife that controls the money.
That yeah,
Um,
yeah, that can help.
you know my wife. You know my wife.
I do.
But yeah, no, it's yeah, it does. But so the cool thing about the hobby, though, here's the weird. The cool
Mhm.
thing about hobbying, and especially like miniature wargaming, and this is what
Yeah.
I kind of like about it. And I guess my wife doesn't really understand this because anyway, the cool thing about miniature wargaming, I didn't write enough notes on this, but I kind of just read it and I kept capitalized it on it. Um, you can do multiple things and still not play,
Yeah.
right? So, like for example, part of hobbying is playing, right? But let's be honest, I've only played once a month, right?
Yeah.
And that's only for the past 4 months. I haven't played for 2 years almost, right?
You did a
Because
little
of
bit online,
quarantine.
I think, right?
But what did I do? Yeah, yeah, I did TTS.
Hmm.
We'll talk about that with online options. But what did I do in the meantime? How did I stay motivated? I painted. My entire backlog is gone. But even if I didn't want to paint that day, I just sit down and build. Or,
Yeah.
and this sounds really stupid, I'd sit down and just clip and then put little piles of where the clippings were so that I can like come back to it and glue it later. You know? Um, the cool thing about the hobby is not just the playing, it's the painting, the building, I mean, even for frick's sake, this isn't even reading the fluff.
Yeah.
I had 2 books that I just got started reading that I haven't caught up with. Mortis and the Elizabeth Equin book, the second one in the series. I haven't read those yet, and I started reading them right now, and I'm just loving it. Because that's part of the hobby. That is part of the hobby. It has nothing to do with miniature wargaming, but it kind of does because you're like learning the fluff of your army or learning the history. So like that's the really cool thing. You can stay motivated and not have to play.
Yeah.
Hell,
It's
yeah. Anyway,
engaging
sorry.
at the
That's
end
just
of
a
the
little
day.
rant.
That's right.
Yeah.
No, no, this is, this was meant to be a bit more of an open segment talking about how we
Yeah,
feel, but all, yeah, it's engagement. Um, it is easy to stay active and stay motivated when you're getting out, when you're playing, when you're enjoying it, when you're let's face it. I mean, n- not that hopefully most people who listen to this, if you lose, that's fine. Like, hey, you lost the game, it's fine because you had fun with friends. But no one likes losing a bunch, and it's always easier to stay motivated when you're winning or doing well, or at least nice and close. It gets harder when legitimate factors get in your way. Your time, your money, life in general. It also gets tougher when maybe you can't get out to play as much. Maybe some things come
yeah,
up so you can't do it. Maybe when you're going out and playing, you're you have whatever faction, and hey, they're not performing well, like say Gloomspire gets for Age of Sigmar. They're not
listen,
performing well,
our friend
so
John still plays. Our friend John still plays them.
mhm.
Oh, they're still awful. They still lose, but he still tries.
Yeah, they overall have the worst
Yeah, no, they're bad.
performance at higher levels.
They're really
So I
bad. I'll
mean,
tell you right
if you
now.
chose an army that ends up doing very poorly, it can be a bit of a slug to kind of get through. Like
Yeah.
next,
Oh, absolutely.
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, but I was using the John example. Even though he does
Mhm.
play and he does suffer the lose streak, you see his models. His models are beautiful.
Yes,
Now his wife did paint them. His wife is the big painter of it, but he painted some too as well. But
yeah, some of those are his.
um, yeah, some of those are. But like I said, they're beautiful. He spent time painting them. So sure, he loses, but damn, if he's not the most beautiful army probably in the entire tournament.
Mm.
Just the different color mushrooms, the bright colors, it looks beautiful. So that's what I'm saying. Like what did you say? Engagement? That's what it is. It comes down
Yeah.
to engagement.
And I think that's what can get tough, and maybe we'll get into this in a little bit of how to try and
Yeah.
re-engage. But there is
Yeah.
various ways to be engaged. Like I said, painting. If you enjoy it at all, great, you can do it. If you don't, might still be part of the hobby. And there's people out there absolutely who did not like painting, started doing it. We'll talk about ways to kind of get into painting and all. And once you're in, then they start enjoying it. Then they start liking it. You know.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so this is gonna sound. I mentioned reading books, right?
Yeah.
How that can be. Here's the stupid thing. So I have another friend who loves tournaments, right? And I'm gonna chat with him and a couple other friends on iPhone, and
Mhm.
we will spend the entire day just theory crafting different lists. Like, let me pull up my phone real quick. Let me just go to this chat. Okay, so there we go. I'm just gonna scroll up until it stops. So here's one list, two, three, four. That's a tournament list. Okay, so these are tournament lists. I'll count that as one. Five,
Mhm.
six. So between what day is this? This was yesterday, 10:52. So from yesterday 10:52 to today 10. Right. So what is that? 24 hours. About 24 hours.
Yeah, about
There's
74 hours.
5 to 6 lists, and of one of those is a link to an article with another 6 lists on there. And we're just theory crafting different things that we can do with our armies. Are we going to play all of those lists? Absolutely not.
That
But
does
that
not
keeps
time.
you again motivated. Yeah. But that keeps you motivated. That keeps you. It's again. It sounds so stupid because like people are like, but it's not miniature wargaming. But it is.
No.
It is. I mean, look here. I mean, Dave, you have Battlescribe, right?
Yeah, I have
Be
that.
honest.
Mhm.
Be honest. How many lists do you have on Battlescribe?
I don't use
I
Battlescribe as
heard the
much.
snicker.
So,
Okay.
so no. What I'll say is I don't use Battlescribe as much. So I have a few, but the different apps. So for like MCP, I have Assemble. I have, I don't know, a dozen plus on there. For Sigmar, I use the War Scroll builder that they have.
Yeah.
So I I don't know, a couple dozen on there. Battlescribe I will use usually not to build the list, but to like peruse models and rules and things. So
So
usually more of that as a reference source.
so my question is, you probably knew where I was
Mhm.
going with this. How many of those lists have you used?
Oh, I maybe get to one a week.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, I look at my Battlescribe on my Battlescribe on my iPad. I have, and I kid you not, a 20,000 point list for custodies, which is my entire. But I wanted a theory craft how many custodies I had, and
At the
that
end of the
that
day, for the average person in this hobby, hobby. Playing games is you spend who's been in here for 10, 20, 30 years. That's another thing. But if you're someone who's, say, within the first 5 years of them being in the hobby or that, you're spending a lot of time assembling, painting, theory crafting, list crafting. Even the other day when we were done playing a game, I was at the hobby store. I was at Red Seal Gaming for, I want to say about 3.5 hours, maybe 4. Played a game. Game was hour and a half, maybe that. The rest of the time we were literally talking shop. We were going through different models, talking about things that are going to come out, what's already out, what do we like, all of that. A lot of it, this is a social hobby. So a lot of what kind of keeps you involved is that socialization aspect. And maybe
Absolutely.
playing is 20%, but the socialization could easily be 50% or more. I mean, you can in early in the pandemic, at
Even
least we
playing it.
did
Yeah.
painting over Zoom and stuff like that. We've done.
Oh, I remember that. That was so cool. I do remember that. That
Yeah.
was fun. That was fun. Yeah, and playing is socialization as well. So
Hmm.
it's like there are so many things to do. I mean, here you mentioned socialization, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you're not a social person. Let's
In
say,
the wrong hobby.
yeah, I know. First of all, you're in the wrong hobby. No, but let's say you play your game, but you don't want to stay there and talk with anyone, right? Quarantine hits. You can't play any games, right? So
Mhm.
now you don't want to socialize with anyone, but you also can't play games. There's still freaking options. There's
Yeah.
the entire internet. God, I sound like an old man when I say that. The interwebs. No, there's the entire internet, man. I mean, look, let me. I'm going to skip the first. I'm going to skip to. I'm going to give you the big one. YouTube. The
Yeah.
amount of time that I spend on YouTube watching other people play my game is astounding. And
Yeah.
I know that older generations, the boomers, love to be like, "Why are you watching someone play video games when you could just play it yourself?" Right? That's what they say.
It's better than unboxing
Is that
videos.
a common thing? You've heard this, right?
Oh yeah. One
But no,
of my
it's that's.
friends, his
I
kid
mean,
wants to do a YouTube channel of like a little kid playing games and all, and it's probably gonna
yeah,
go absolute fire, I bet.
absolutely. I 100% agree. Like for example, one of the channels I watch, right? Let's shout out some channels. I love
Absolutely.
the 30K. I love the 30K channel with an upside. When they produce games, that dude makes game boards that like I I, j- I can't even describe them. They're beautiful. They're beautiful. I don't want to play on them because I feel like my models would not do them justice. Kind of
What's the
nonsense.
name of the channel? Is it called the 30K
We have
channel?
like oh, yeah, it's literally called the 30K channel. But even okay, so maybe 30K is not for you. You have mini wargaming. Mini wargaming is like your literal. They're Canadian. They're the most popular YouTube personas when it comes to miniature wargaming.
In the
Um,
GW
I
spectrum,
mean,
yeah. I would give them for GW spectrum.
yeah, but even they play some other games too. They also play some other games. But I just recently, here we go. I just recently subscribed to Garage Hammer Tactics, right? Garage Hammer Tactics, which is another 30K channel, and they're literally playing in the garage. They just started, but their videos are beautiful. They have amazing videos.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, you have Tabletop Titans. Another one, Tabletop Standard, which is Titanicus. Tabletop Standard is straight up
Mhm.
Titanicus games. Um,
The Guerrilla Miniature
and
Games,
again, yeah, Guerrilla Adventure games. I have them as well. Yeah.
what I like about their stuff is the variety to it. So when we were doing some Battlefleet Gothic, they had the videos I want to say were about a year old or so, but that probably doesn't matter. But they had some videos from about a year or so ago where they're doing Battlefleet Gothic. So I was able to watch 5, 6 videos, did some painting all my Battlefleet Gothic while I watched them play it. They kind of move around a little bit. And I like that because I can either decide on what game I like or what I'm just in the mood for watching. Like I don't play 40K. I wish I cared. I really do. I love
No, it's
everything
fine.
about it. I
Yeah,
would love. I have no problem talking shop about it. I'll list build for it, everything like that. But I just don't want to play the game. But I don't mind watching other people play it. I think
exactly.
that's of interest.
Especially when they have good personas. Especially when they
Yeah.
have good personas. Like, let me begin. Like, I watch Minor Wargaming and just watching Luca roll dice and seeing like how bad his dice rolls, or Cullen Cullen is infamous in that channel for I don't care what scatter dice you give Cullen, it will always misfire, no matter what. It's almost getting to the point of ridiculous. But no, that's the kind of stuff I like watching. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's yeah, or I mean, on YouTube, since we're talking about YouTube, Twitch, which is more live gaming, but Twitch and they've been streaming tournaments too. The tournament I was
Yes.
talking about with Sean, that was streamed on Twitch.
Yeah.
That was streamed on Twitch. People
But going
watched.
back to YouTube for a second,
Oh yeah.
because I wanna shout out a few different
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
content
Go ahead. Oh
creators
yeah.
that I follow and everything like that. So if you're looking at any other types of games, so one of the other games I play big is A Song of Ice and Fire. For that, two of the main ones I watch are for Sunday Slaughter. So Chris Tran, he so his actual job is video production. So his videos and all, and the work he puts into them, it is honestly the best I've ever seen. Because this man does this for a living. He actually knows what he's doing. He can put it together very, very well. The other one, say for that, is Three Sales Gaming, where they do not so much battle reports, but he does a lot more of going over factions and cards. So in A Song of Ice and Fire, you also have cards that you use as well. Cards, just more of the tactic type stuff. They're probably, I think, the two that we haven't mentioned yet that I really watch. And then a lot of the other stuff I watch now, as you said, like we were going more towards Twitch. A lot of stuff I now is Twitch. I was watching what was I watching on Sunday? It was essentially the team tournament from Europe for Age of Sigmar. I think it was Euro Nationals. I forget exactly what they called it, but I was watching that. They had that on.
Okay. Okay. All right. I didn't even know they had that on. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to remember what channel I was watching. Talk about the ones you watch, and then I'll try to find them. I'm trying to remember which one.
You mean Twitch? Oh no, Twitch.
Yeah.
So Twitch, I don't really watch a lot of miniature wargaming. I like to stick to YouTube only because
Okay.
Twitch is live. So sometimes it's an inconvenient time. I can't turn on in the middle of class to watch.
A
A
lot
Twitch
of
channel.
people,
Whereas,
a lot of people though do the VOD and stuff like that.
yes, I go back and watch them when they're done. But let's see here. Actually, I use Twitch more for video games, watching video games live.
It was
Lord have
the
mercy.
T Sports Network is what I was watching. They did the
Okay.
Sigmar 6 Nationals is what it was. So I believe it was teams from 6 different nations. I'm pretty sure UK won. I'm pretty sure that's what I'm pretty sure they did. But yeah, it was a lot of fun to watch. The parts that I watched, I didn't watch all of it because it was multiple days of coverage, things like that. But the bit that I watched, it was good.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, and if it comes down to it, let's say you don't want to watch YouTube, you want to play a game, but you're super scared of COVID. You don't want to go in, and
Or you just can't.
or you just can't. TTS.
Yeah.
TTS.
Going to the store takes time.
I mean,
It pulls you out of the house. There can be reasons why you can't do that.
yeah. I'll be honest. I used TTS a lot, and not to play games, but this goes back to theorycraft. Me and my friend Luke played a lot of games on TTS, theory crafting the craziest lists. Now, the irony here is now that I own 20,000 points of custodies, all the lists I theory crafted, I literally can do in real life. I'm not sure that's a good thing or a bad thing. No, but like he was able to, let's say he wants to build a list with, oh God, what are those chaos things on the tank treads? The big Goliath looking dudes. You know what I'm talking about, Dave? The one with like the stomach cannon, and they're on like big tank treads.
No, like the filers.
No, like they're like Titan size. They're like Imperial Knight size. They have huge tank treads. They carry an axe.
The Lord of Skulls.
Oh, dragging up the wall. Yes, Lord of Skulls. Thank you. Yeah,
he's not as big as you think.
Really?
Yeah, no, he's not. He's not really that big. When you actually see the model in person, you would think he would be this giant, imposing, like Baneblade monster. He's not actually. He's not nearly as big as you think.
Okay, so
Yeah.
never mind.
He's still a big boy,
but no, but he made a list with 3. Yeah. He made a list with 3 of them. You know, are you going to buy 3 Lord of Skulls? If the list he liked worked, yeah, sure, he'd buy it. But he didn't like the list, so he didn't buy it. So boom, there we go. So it's kind of cool that you can play TTS if you want to just kind of screw around. Hell, I think you even used TTS to teach me Song of Ice and Fire.
I did.
I remember this.
Oh, at
This
one
is
point I
early
was
in
playing
quarantine.
2 to 3 games of Ice and Fire a week on TTS. I mean, and then before that was doing Marvel Crisis Protocol on there. So I mean, I've played on the last 2, honestly, in the last 2 years, pure game wise, I've probably played more games than I had before in that same amount of time because I can play a game whenever. I don't have to wait till Friday night on the various
Yeah.
Discord servers. If I went in right now and probably within 10 minutes, I could probably get a game. Unless, um, certain times could be a little bit tougher, but for whatever system, yeah, if I want a game, probably in about 10 minutes I could get one. Where otherwise,
Mhm. No.
I'm waiting until the particular day, or maybe I'm arranging something with someone, but that's not always easy, or maybe it's tough, it can be tough for me. So, with my current schedule, I teach Tuesday and Thursday nights. So realistically, I couldn't go, I could, even if I wanted to go to a store on those nights, I get out a little bit late, or if I could make it be kind of tough. But, you know, I could come home, have dinner, and then I could hop online. That's easy. Online's always open. There's people over the world. I've played with people in various parts of the world. Often when I've done tournaments, I usually, if it's a league style, I sign up for the leagues out of Europe because my time schedule fits better. When it's evening for them, it's midday for us. And I can usually play, at least in the past, play midday a lot easier than I could play evenings. So I sign up with them. I play at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You know, I found it an invaluable tool. Absolutely. And I know for most games, there's mods. People have stuff for most of them. I've watched some people play Titanicus on it and all of that, and it is slower.
It
100%
is.
admit it is slower, but
But what the armies come painted.
yeah,
That's
they're
stupid.
painted, and
But
you
no,
can actually play.
and
You can play with
and
whatever
here's,
you
I
want.
mean, this sounds stupid, but you can actually play on like really cool 3D boards. So what back in
Yeah.
the day, I actually did make 4 or 5 Zone Mortalis boards for 30K in Tabletop Simulator, and they've been downloaded. I think the last time I checked, I think 3,000 times. Um,
Oh,
yeah, that people really like them, and it was like one of them is basically a ship with a docking bay. You could put ships in there for terrain. It looks really good. In fact, let me see. I don't know. I'll show. You have to hold on. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick.
yeah. All right. Well, while you're
'Cause
pulling up,
yeah, exactly.
um,
Give me a second.
so that's probably, wargaming wise. If you're looking to play, either you can't get out or you just want to join more of communities, TTS is a good way to do it. The way to find games like that, then, there's a lot of Discord servers out there. That is, at one point there was different avenues that you find, but I think now Discord is the main thing. I'm in it for various games that I play. I'm in more than one server for different games I play. And yeah, it gives me plenty of people that I can talk about gaming with. I can actually play games with. I can hear them talk about their games. I can find out different community features that I need to be following or watching or anything like that. It's when you're there long enough, you do start to feel, even though some of these people you've never met, honestly, some of these people I'll never meet because some of them are in different parts of the world, but they absolutely become friends. They are,
Yeah.
absolutely, the same as the people that you see in person, to some extent. Were you able to find what you were looking
Oh
for?
yeah, no, I absolutely did.
Okay.
Um, here, if you literally go, I don't know if you have access to Steam with you right now.
Always.
But if you go to Tabletop Simulator, the workshop,
Yeah.
literally just type in Zone Mortalis board. So Zone space Mortalis Mortalis and board. Um, and you will actually see my 2 submissions for that. There are other ones that are not Zone Mortalis, but those are my first 2. Makes it a little easier.
All
And you'll see Space Station, and you'll see Bernina Prospero.
right. Yep, there I see it. Yes.
Yes.
That looks good. I like that.
And
Looking
it's
at
kind of cool
the
because
spaceship one.
yeah, it's really it yeah. And there are 3D effects. There's actually smoke coming through the grates. Yeah, it's just I had a lot of fun making it. But that's what I'm talking about. You can have a lot of fun with these.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that community that you can get involved in, and if you are a person who wants that form of creativity, a lot of these apps, even the ones that are pretty well established, you know, a lot of these people are always kind of looking for someone who might want to help, someone who has ideas, someone who wants to share thoughts and all. I know like the one for Song of Ice and Fire is essentially held by one person. Not exactly. Some of these other ones I just personally don't know well enough. But, if you're that kind of minded person and that's a part of the hobby that you enjoy or could enjoy, it absolutely gives you an option of something that you can do. So, I think maybe what would be a sort of good branching point from this is talking a little bit about, how to. A lot of this was, I think, a little bit closer to what to do when you're not playing, but maybe a little bit of what to or how to kind of get yourself motivated again when you sort of lost it. So you've sat around for, say, a few weeks, stopped painting, stopped going out to the game store. You can't go out to the game store. You sort of, start to lose interest to a point. What can be done to kind of try and get that back? Do you have tactics for yourself when you kind of realize that you've been
Yeah, I do.
lagging on it?
Let me see here. Actually, talk about yours first. Talk about yours
All
first,
right.
so I can gather
That's
the
all right.
thoughts.
So for me personally, and I've went through this a few times. I think all of us do, where I just kind of stopped doing stuff, especially through COVID. Like when I wasn't necessarily going to the store. Even now, sometimes when I go, I don't even necessarily go with the intention of playing, or I'll play maybe some card games or something like that. I don't necessarily even bring my miniatures all the time. But I find when I'm having trouble motivating to kind of do parts of the hobby, when it's starting to feel like maybe a bit of a chore and all, I find for me at least one of the biggest things is to actually just do something. So say when we talk about painting, I go through spurts when I'm not painting models. I'll be either playing other games or just doing other things, or I'll sit down and I'll tell myself, because I'm the same way about shows and movies. I am terrible about watching shows and I'm awful about watching movies. And it's not for a lack of interest. I want to, but I'll look at the time and I'll say, it's 11. Do I really want to start, say, watching this show? Because then maybe I'll get through an episode or maybe two, but then I'll have to go to bed and all that. I should really do these sorts of things, and I kind of talk myself out of it. I've done the same thing in hobby. Sometimes I'll look and I'll say, oh, it's kind of late. I go to bed within a couple hours from now. If I start my painting, and my paints are out. My paints are in two main spots, so it's not like all my stuff's away. Oh yeah, but if I start, I'm probably not going to get that far, and then I got to clean all my brushes, and I kind of convince myself that it's going to be a hassle. And that I just shouldn't bother because, what's the point? If I can't do enough, don't bother doing it. But
Yeah, no,
in
makes sense.
reality, I mean, the phrase that's used a lot in, say, engineering or in other disciplines and all, it's, anything worth doing is worth doing poorly. You know, that idea of you should do it perfect. No, it is better to spend 10 minutes painting than zero. It is
Yes,
better, like you said,
yes.
clip apart a
Um,
model and just let it sit on the sprue.
I mean, I'll literally just give you an example.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I was going to start. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
Today, I opened Valdor out of the box. Yesterday and today, I didn't want to paint. I've been way too tired from work. But yesterday, I took Valdor out of the box, washed him in some warm soap, and let him dry overnight. That's it. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That already, right? Today, I clipped them, glued the pieces I needed to glue, and then left some off for the subsection painting.
Mm-hmm.
Came upstairs. I didn't even spray them. Just came upstairs. Little bits like that help. You know, you will get the spurt of paint all your models right now, finish it, go to bed at 12 o'clock at night. But sometimes, I mean, you don't even need an hour a day. That took me what? Gluing Valdor and clipping the thing took I actually watched the Yogg's cast while doing it. So let's say a 20-minute video. It took me 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I could have went outside and sprayed, although it was kind of too cold and dark. But I just said, you know what? This is a good place to stop. I don't need to rush. And that's okay. That's okay. Just doing it is the toughest part.
The hour a day idea, that's really from a painting aspect. A lot of people adhere to
Okay, yeah.
this. Yeah, I adhere to it as well when I can. Sometimes I'm better about it than others. But the whole idea is, say you're trying to get, we'll take painting as the example, but you can even do assembling if you're earlier in the hobby, or if you picked up a new army, or you got a giant box full of Stormcast sitting next to you, like I do now. But it's the idea, find an hour in your day, late at night, early, whenever you have, try to find an hour. If you struggle with painting, it's hard to get yourself motivated, okay, hey, this is the time that I sit down and do it. You sit down and you paint. You can put out whatever you want on, listen to whatever you want, find those little bits of distraction you need, but you sit down and you give yourself 1 hour. And when an hour's done, you're done. And like I said, that idea of, if it's worth doing poorly. If one day you can only do 30 minutes, you do 30 minutes. But the idea is some amount of consistency. I find, for me at least, I get more motivated when I do something more often. This week while painting, I've been painting more,
like that.
so I'm more motivated to paint. It feels easier for me. Yeah, it feels easier for me to do something when I've made. I guess at the end of the day, it's when you've made a habit of it.
Yeah. I mean, here's my habit. Here's the funny part. When I paint, I do spray paint, zenithal, right there. My habit is I paint up to the null oil stage, and then I apply the null oil, and then usually null oil takes, a couple hours to dry.
Yeah.
So I get up to the null oil stage, and then I stop. And that's already good. I mean, I don't time myself, but ironically enough, that's about an hour, 2 hours of painting. And it's a habit. For example, the ogres. Ogres, and you saw how many ogres I painted, Dave.
Yes, you did. A lot of ogres.
Yeah, I would spray zenithal, put the base paint down, null oil, and leave it alone. And then the next day, contrast paint, dry brush, done. That's how I got through that. It wasn't boring. It was very systematic. It wasn't slow, wasn't fast. It was a habit. It became a habit of what I did. I mean, for Christ's sake, I paid 180 Noblars. In any other given day, that's suicide. But it got to the point where, it's just a lot, and they're really small.
Yeah,
but it got to the point where I knew what I was contrasting, right? Get to the null oil, leave them alone, and then come back, contrast paint, dry brush, done. So you set up these habits, and again, you don't need to paint an entire model in a night. Don't do that, please. Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
But just little tiny bits, and again, even if you only put the base coat down and you don't null oil, the only reason I do the null oil is because I know it takes forever to dry. But if you just put the base coat down, that's good too.
Yeah,
that's good too.
I think if your struggle is, say, painting, I mean, for assembling, I think it's, that's very easy in my mind to set a nice goal for yourself. And let's face it, the reason why, if you play any video games when they give you achievements and all that kind of stuff, the reason why they do that is because it works. Because a little bit of carrots along the way absolutely work on people. Give yourself, the thing of like, okay, I really don't feel like doing it. I'm going to assemble a model. Pick one thing you got, assemble it. Okay, hey, tomorrow you're going to assemble one more thing. And, use that as a way to motivate yourself into doing more. Mm-hmm. And then when you feel like it, do a lot more. Or if you like the next aspect, let's say you don't like assembling, but you like painting. The faster it's assembled, the faster you can paint. Give yourself, say, in painting things, what I try to do is I intersperse when I'm doing, say, my more of line units with heroes. I never do my heroes back to back, because heroes I like to spend a lot of time on. I like to use a lot of my different techniques on, and they take more time, and I get to focus on one model. They are my reward for getting through my unit of whatever it may be. If you are someone who really struggles with it, I would caution against doing batch painting, because I think batch painting can absolutely be soul crushing. That 180 Noblars sounds soul crushing. And when someone has done that,
I left. Oh, I did the opposite of you. I left that for the very, 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 very end.
I would never
Uh,
touch them then.
yeah, I
Then
left that
I'll
for
do
the
this other
very.
work. Just throw them right in the garbage.
I do have fun lists with them though. That's why I did them. Because you can make them battle shock immune, and you have 40 Domblars in a squad. So
Ooh.
you what you do is you bash their heads in for D3 mortal wounds, and now that entire squad for the rest of the game is battle shock immune. So yeah, 39 to 37 in battle shock immune Domblars, which is hilarious. Anyway, sorry, off
No,
topic.
that's
But yeah, no,
okay. But that sounds
yeah,
terrible, but okay.
no, it was terrible. Let me tell you, I did. It was soul crushing. I'm not gonna lie, it was soul crushing. But again, you leave. It wasn't as soul crushing as it should have been because again, it's you. Also, I think I didn't even mention this, but we mentioned this about YouTube. I
Yeah.
think that keeping your enthusiasm, find someone to listen to. Okay, so my
Yes.
wife every morning, I love her. I love her to death. I married her. I love her. But God damn it, she listens to this. I want to say it's either BAI or NPR podcast every single morning. It's to
All
the
right.
point where I've memorized their opening.
What don't you like
Um,
about it? What's so bad
no,
about it? You
it's
don't
not.
like
Okay,
the
so it's not.
news? You don't
No,
like
no, no,
knowing
it's not that.
on the world?
No, it has nothing to do with that. It's I like it's I don't know. It's weird. You know when you hear the same music over and over again,
Yeah.
it's like you don't want to listen to it anymore. That's what it is. Their
Okay.
voices I've heard every single morning, and it gets to the point where like they're my alarm clock now, and now I've associated them with waking up. So so I'm like
Mm.
listening. But no, that's her morning routine. She puts it on, listens to the podcast, brushes her teeth, whatever, does her thing, right? For me, when I'm painting, I always have a YouTube video on. And sometimes it has nothing to do with what I'm painting.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like the Yogs cast where they're doing, Trouble in Terrace Town, or they're doing, some other thing, right? Or sometimes it is related, but I'm watching Lewitton. And Lewitton is one of the biggest lore dudes on YouTube. He does these hour to 2 hour long lore videos of Warhammer 40,000 that are super entertaining, I should add. Or sometimes I do something historical, like Overly Sarcastic Productions, which literally makes anime chibi cartoons for like historical concepts. Um, so you
I
just find something to listen to. Sitting there alone painting is just no, don't do that. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I
Or
don't even listen to
assembling or
music
any
while
of
doing
that.
it.
Yeah.
Like
I
music to me, yeah, go ahead.
I find in general for myself, I rarely listen to something. Sometimes podcasts, but other than that, I rarely listen to something from the hobby when I'm doing hobby stuff. Normally, I'll listen to podcasts and stuff like that when I'm driving. When I'm actually doing hobby stuff, a lot of times I'm either listening to episodes or things like that from my brother and me, or I'm watching videos from Red Letter Media, just going through back catalog of stuff. Because I don't have to pay attention to it. I can hear it a bit. Sounds funny, and every now and then you look up and you see the goofy part of a movie from like the best of the worst episode or something like that.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's there are ways to stay 100% motivated with the
Mhm.
hobby, and even if you don't want to paint. I
Yeah.
mean, for me, sometimes this sounds stupid, but just for me, watching a mini wargaming video of them playing is
Yeah.
motivation enough. I mean, for Christ's sake, they just released a video, for example, they just released a video of them playing Zone Mortalis, right?
Mhm.
Um, which is, the zone, what I was talking about before, where you're battling Warhammer 30,000 in a spaceship. And I'm just watching it, and I'm like, wow, this really wants me to, I want to build Feldor today, That's what got me to motivated. Little things like that. And again, I didn't build them for long. But
Mhm.
little things like that chip it away, and it doesn't feel like a chore. You
It's
know,
it's remembering
so
why
you
you
strike a
got in.
balance. Yeah, you strike a balance is basically what it
Yeah.
comes down to. It sounds
No,
stupid.
I don't think
You
it
strike
sounds
a
stupid.
balance.
It's realizing, like I said, it's why did you get in? You got in because you like something about it. And it's finding that balance sometimes between doing the parts that you either like but maybe don't necessarily feel like right then, or the parts you don't like that get you to the points of what you do want. Like I said, if you got plenty of money, yeah, you can get other people to assemble, paint, and put all your stuff together. Most of us can't do that. So most of us, that is part of the hobby. And to me, I don't know. To me, that's an intricate part of it. Don't get me wrong. I like playing, but to me, I think that's, for better or worse, one of the least parts of the hobby.
Everyone's different. Like for the longest time, I built, but I never painted. I would pay other people to paint my models. But as you know, now I've painted all my custodians, my ogres, my everything on my in there is painted by me. And I have a busy life. Like I'm
Because you're spending all
now.
that money on Starbucks. You can't pay anyone.
Shut up. Shut up. Those pumpkin spice latte frappuccinos won't drink themselves. No, now it's peppermint mocha. Oh God, I'm so basic. Someone help me. Jesus Christ. Every now and then words come out. I'm just a basic white girl. Oh, Lord. No, but like, okay, so like, I'm not gonna be like I'm all important, but I have a busy life. I have a daughter,
Yeah.
I got a wife, I have a dog.
Mhm.
I teach. And hell, I'm still grading work. Before we started this podcast, I was grading work up until then.
And we're not
I'm
spring chickens
busy,
anymore. We're
but
both men in our 30s now. Life only gets busier for you, and stuff gets tougher as you go up.
careful, careful, okay? Because I had a
But
kid last week say I was born in the late 1900s. So,
okay, but that kid needs to, whatever grade they're in, they need to go back like 2 to 3 grades because they don't understand. Okay, like when they said 1900s,
he was right.
like yeah,
The late 1900s. He's
yeah,
right.
well, yeah, but I don't know. Like
I know. I know. It hurts, doesn't it? Yeah.
yeah,
Just say
because
it. It
when
hurts.
you said 1900s, I'm thinking like 1901 and shit. I'm like, this kid's dumb.
Yeah.
What's he
No.
thinking? I'm like, oh no,
Late.
we were. Same thing. I saw something the other day. It's like, oh, think about your favorite movie from 20 years ago. And someone said, realize 20 years ago wasn't 1990 like you're thinking right now. It's
No.
2000.
It was
Oh God, it hurts.
2000. Oh God. Yeah. So like, okay. So we are
That
not
kid
spring
still needs to
chickens.
go back and learn some manners then. Because yeah, I
Oh,
was
so
thinking about it very
I
differently.
I like that kid, but
Oh,
he's a smart ass. He knew what he did. Um, no, but it's like it's hard to find time. It is,
yeah.
but like I said before, you just strike a balance. Like I said, it took me what 20 minutes to build Valdor today and sub-assemble him and shave off and clip him. It took me 20 minutes.
Mhm.
Is the model done? No. Am I going to use him tomorrow? No. It's just it's you just gotta find. If I had more time, I'd be painting right now and spraying. But I
Yep.
sat back and I was like, I kind of want to watch YouTube and relax before the podcast. So that's what I did.
Mhm.
And I graded a little bit. That's what you do. You can't beat yourself up over not. See, this is the okay.
That's the biggest
I
thing
don't
I
want to
think.
rant. Yeah,
No,
I
that's
think
the
I don't want
biggest
to
thing.
rant, but yeah, it's just you can't beat yourself up. Before quarantine started, right? Before quarantine started, this is a little personal. Before quarantine started, I would pay people to paint my armies for me. I did this with my Deathwing. I did this with my Imperial Knights. I did this with my Grey Knights. I did this with my everything. Now, a little before quarantine happened, I want to say 2 years before quarantine happened, I bought a Mechanicum army. And for the first time ever, and this is from Forge World, Mechanicum army, not GW Mechanicus. This was straight up resin, 3,000 point Mechanicum army. This cost a lot of money.
Oh
For the
yeah.
first time ever, I sat down and I was like, I want to paint this. And this is the yellow and black army, Dave, with the rust and everything.
Yes.
And I sat down and I was like, I'm going to paint this myself. And by doing that, and this was when I was an adult, by doing that, I learned little tips and tricks about how to paint, how to prioritize my time. And I also realized it sounds so sappy. I'm sorry to kind of love myself a little bit, in the painting process.
Mhm.
I didn't beat myself up when I didn't finish something. Because before I'd look at an unfinished model, be like, wow, I really got to pay someone to paint this. Now I was like, you know what? I'm spending time painting this. Let me take a break. I'm not using it tomorrow. I'll paint a little bit more tomorrow. You don't blame yourself for not finishing because you're like, life happens. And
Yeah.
then I got the Custodes army. And then the point is that I got more and more armies, but I learned to kind of just be like, if it didn't, I didn't blame myself. I didn't blame myself because that's what I used to do. I used to look at a gray army or a sprayed army. Let's say I sprayed, and I'd be like, oh my God, how dare I not paint this, right? But what I should have done was paint it slowly. Just break it down, strike the balance, and just not blame yourself. You can't sit there and just beat yourself up. Anyway.
There's some of that, and it's usually said, with a touch of irony, although sometimes it doesn't feel like that. That idea of like your shelf of shame or wall of shame, your unassembled, your
Yes.
miniatures in boxes, your gray miniatures, all of that. And so there's like, oh, it's your shame because you're not done those yet. Most of us, Dan excluded, usually have stuff on the shelf. We usually have a good amount of stuff. We have things that we haven't gotten through. That's fine. It falls back on that idea again of, it's okay not to be complete with everything. It's okay, to have said, hey, yeah, this week I got some paint on one model. I got some assembly done. I built some lists. I watched some videos. That's all I got to. This isn't your job. And since this isn't your job and it's supposed to be fun, you're allowed to say to yourself, I don't feel like doing it right now. I can't do it right now. I have too much going on. Or to look at it and you don't. I think it becomes worse when you look at what's there and you tell yourself, oh, well, I got to stop doing all these other things until I get this done because I have this backlog and I have this many models. And if they're not done, then I can't do the other things I want. It's worthwhile if you really do want it to get it done, to dedicate some time to kind of try and schedule that hour a day or 30 minutes a day, or tell yourself, hey, you know what? My Fridays are my light day. I'm going to spend a couple hours on Friday doing things, putting stuff together, assembling, getting hobby stuff ready. If you need to schedule it that way, schedule it that way. But you don't want it to ever, don't let it feel like a job. Don't let it feel like your requirement. If you didn't get everything done that you wanted, that's fine. It's a hobby. It's supposed to be fun. As soon as it stops being fun,
The first time ever. No, it's for the first time ever. I still have the Infinity that I bought a month and a half ago. It's still in the box. I haven't
mine is
opened it.
too. Mine has
I
not
haven't
come out
touched
yet.
it. Now, does that mean I'm never going to play Infinity? No. I love Infinity. I've played it before. I've used loaner armies to play.
We're doing an episode on it very soon.
Yeah. I love military armies. I love the way they play. They're great, but I have not played my own army yet. I've had to borrow. And is that okay? Yes. If I was a younger me, I'd look at that. I'd feel ashamed. I'd break open the box, pay someone $300 to paint that army. But now I'm like, it's in the box. It's okay. I'll get to it when I get to it. Probably after I paint Valdor. And yeah, maybe it's I don't know, maybe it's an older person thing. I guess maybe when we get older, you get like this. But it's just, I don't know. It's just, you almost come to peace with things are okay to be left unfinished.
You will never complete everything you ever want. Life gets easier.
That's okay.
And that's
Fine with
just
that.
true in all of life. You will never finish everything you want. You do not have the time. You will never have the time. And that's fine. You complete the things then that you want to / need. There's some stuff you have to do, obviously.
Yeah. This is the philosophy podcast. Yes, this is the philosophy podcast. Welcome.
Yeah. I mean, it does. It gets to
No,
that
it's
in
true,
a
though.
point
It
because
is.
when you're
It
talking
is.
about these sort of topics, you're talking about it in a much broader sense. Like we're talking about, wargaming and all, but this applies to any hobby, anything that you do that isn't your primary source of income. Because if it's your primary source of income, you got to find a way to motivate yourself. And sometimes you will do it. Yeah. And sometimes you'll do it
'cause it's a
and you're
job.
not motivated at all, but just do it anyway because it's your job. But I don't care what your hobby is. Like I play a lot of board games. I play a lot of card games. I do play some computer games or video games and all. I used to do more. I do a little less now. I do more during the summer when I have more time. But pick any of those hobbies. You'll never get through it all. There's games, if I got through all the games I wanted, the shows I want to watch, the movies I want to watch, all that kind of stuff, there's not enough time. I know I won't. I won't do all that.
No, literally not enough time.
Yeah, there's no
Literally
chance.
not enough time.
You have to be okay with that. You have to realize, well, which do I really want to do? Which parts are important? And for me right now, doing the miniature wargaming stuff, all that's more important. We're trying to do content creation here. That takes away the time that we would be spending on other hobby things. But it to me, it feels like a worthwhile endeavor.
Yeah.
It's fun and it is a way to engage. It's just a different form of engagement.
Yeah. Damn it, I could have been painting Valdor right now.
You could have been doing that or doing even more Guild Wars, trying to figure out the
Very true. That's another
DPS
way, yeah.
monster. or something.
Oh my god, hold on, really quick side note. This has nothing to do with modeling, but they
That's
just
fine.
released one of the new mounts. It's called the Siege Turtle, and it's a multiplayer mount, and it's a Siege Turtle. It has guns on the side. It
This
is
is what for Guild Wars too?
yeah. I sent the video to the Facebook chat. If you ever watch it, it is amazing. It's a stupid Siege Turtle. It's a Siege Turtle. That it's a Siege Turtle.
I mean, I like
People,
the idea of that just because it sounds cool.
it,
It reminds me of.
it
Did you ever play the phone game War Tortoise, War Turtle? I forget which
no,
one it
but
was.
that
You're like a mouse on the back of a
no, I did
turtle
not.
with that's like covered in guns, and like you're fighting off like squirrels or something like that and frogs, and you can upgrade the guns and all.
Ah, that's great. No. It's just
I just
that
watched a little of the
reminded
video.
me.
It's pretty cool looking.
When you get the chance, I
That turtle's
posted
cool
on the
looking.
Facebook chat a
I'm
little bit
looking at it right
higher.
now.
Oh,
They're
yeah, no,
literally
it's
turtles with giant guns on their backs.
yep. And what happens is they don't swim. They just when you put them in the water, they just sink to the bottom. They just walk on the bottom of the ocean with guns. It's stupid.
They got jets. Wasn't
Oh yes,
expecting
I forgot
jets.
the jump jets.
Yeah,
I forgot the jump
they have
jets.
jump jets. That I'm assuming there's some sort of lore reason why, and they're giant turtles. Like these are huge turtles. I'm assuming there's some sort of crazy lore reason for
Yeah, there
this.
is.
But all right, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, that's
End
it.
of Guild Wars 2 End of Dragons comes out February 2022.
Yeah, no, that was you
Get
reminded me
on a
of that.
turtle.
Get on a turtle. But yeah, no, it comes down to just not blaming yourself and just honestly, again, this comes down to balance. Do what you can
Yeah.
do and be okay with it.
Yeah.
Be okay with it. Yeah.
All right. I think that covers it as far as I have planned. How about
Yeah, that's pretty
yourself?
much yeah.
All right.
No, I got nothing else to add. I think the siege turtles were an excellent way to end this.
They do
Jump
actually
jetting
look really
siege
cool.
turtles.
I'm
Uh,
not going to play the game. I don't want to do an MMO because to do an MMO well, you have to devote time, and I have too many other
so
things I want to
slight
put my time into.
slight side note: Guild Wars 2 is not your normal MMO. It's not World of Warcraft. It's very open and you can always go back to it. It's not
Yeah.
because it's horizontal progression, not vertical.
All
Once
right.
you
I mean,
reach level 80, the gear is the
mm,
same. It's just new
that's
missions
good
and
at
stuff.
least. Still not
You
going
don't
to
need
do
to
it,
upgrade
but
anything.
that's good. I mean, I played it a little bit at one point, but I want
Yeah, you
endgame.
did. I remember.
When I play a game, I like when it ends. I like when I feel like I've made an
Reach the
accomplishment.
end. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And maybe that's what I like about wargaming so much as well. Like when you're building, painting, assembling, all that kind of stuff,
That's an end.
you get an end game. Like, okay, I've
Yeah.
accomplished that. I have this. It's on my display shelf or in my display cabinet. I feel good about it. And that
Yep. I
sometimes
agree.
motivates me then like, okay, well, what am I going to do next? So,
Yep.
all right.
All right.
Well, as always, I'd like to thank everyone for listening. If you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to reach out to us at trainkickersnj@gmail.com. We don't currently have a lot of other media accounts and all. I do have some of them. I just haven't actually made them necessarily public, but I do plan on doing that as time goes along and all. But that's probably the easiest way to reach out. Um, for next week, I think the plan overall, we're trying to do about every other week or so for Marvel Crisis Protocol. That's what I'd like to do, but we've got a good schedule here going, so I'm trying to work on a schedule for that as well. We're also going to be starting to do our intro slash, why should you care about this game series? We're going to start with Infinity. So we have a few people from that community coming on. I don't have an exact release date for when the episode will come out. The goal is we're going to record it next week. It might take next week or the week after to record. But I don't know if it's going to be immediate release or we're going to wait a little bit. I think it depends on exactly what we have time-wise. Some topics are a little bit more prioritized to when they release because they're very, topical or seasonal. Like when we did our episode last week, which was about Warhammer Day, you can't release that several weeks late. It wouldn't make sense. But we'll see exactly how the discussion goes, and that'll come out pretty soon. Or we might release that as a bonus episode for one of the weeks. So, on behalf of both of us, thank you for listening. And a special importance related to this episode is, go get some models assembled, get some paint on some things, and we will see everyone next time.
See you next time, guys.